he's got a ton of synths in his studio. You get it? It's so fire. And Mike Dean doesn't really like to have plain bass such as this sounds fruity, guys. Hey guys, welcome to a new video. It's your boy Aris. You should know the drill by now. Today we're making the first video of 2022 and we're starting it off with a banger. In fact, we're making a beat like Mike Dean. So stick around because I'm gonna be going in depth in everything I make, and if you like the preview of the beat, I bet you will not be disappointed. So yeah, let's go straight into FL. So before we go ahead and make beats, I want to tell you guys who's Mike Dean. So if you don't know him, he's a staple of the producer industry. He's produced so many different songs of so many different artists, and he's worked with important companies too. And basically, I am gonna recreate his style. So I'm just gonna make a beat in FL Studio, trying to get as close as I can to his style. So the style of Mike Dean is pretty distinct from the other producers because he likes to use his analog gear. He's got a ton of synths in his studio, as you can see from the video that are popping up on the screen, and he likes to use every single one of them. So the first thing that comes to mind when Mike Dean makes a beat is that we want to go for synths, and we're going to use the classics. So jumping right in FL Studio, I've got some plugins here, and I even got a melody that I made that I'm gonna let you guys listen to it in a second. And the first thing that comes to my mind is Analog Lab 5, because this plugin has got a lot of synths, a lot of analog synths that you can choose from. And one of my favorite personally is the CS80. So I just went ahead and I used a preset from here. I selected this one and I've changed some of the values right here. So I'm just gonna let you guys listen to the melody I made. So as you can see, it's not really a melody that's supposed to go on time. Yes, it goes on time, but what Mike Dean likes to do is really freestyle on his synths, and I try to recreate it. Obviously, I don't have either the money or the space to have analog gear here. I made this in G minor and the BPM is 146. When you're trying to make these kind of beats, you don't want to go too fast, either too slow, for every single beat is different. So you can choose whatever BPM you like, but if you're aiming specifically for this style, go between that. Now that I've got this pulled up, I'm just gonna try and put these chords in other synths, and I'm just gonna try to do something a little bit different. So for the second VST, I wanna use Citrus, and I've copied the pattern. I'm gonna take off all the notes. I'm probably going to take this part here and take it off and maybe put it at the beginning of the beats. I really don't know. So I'm just gonna pull up a sampler if I can find it. I'm just gonna copy the pattern here with this. Let's take off all these notes, all the top notes. We're just gonna keep the chords. For the presets, I just want a really dry preset. So I'm just gonna go between these and choose. So I just quantized the notes and I kept the bass notes here. I also added here 2 other bottom notes because if you look to the original MIDI, we don't have a chord here. That's because this synth that I used doesn't really work with chords. In fact, as you can see, the notes are a little bit offset because then it won't let me play all the notes at a single time. So I'd have to play one by one. So I went ahead here and built a chord on top of it. I pitched it up an octave, and for the preset, I used this Greasy 2, which sounds dry enough for me personally, and this is how it sounds. It really complements the melody very well for me. Then I want to add an ARP. So I'm just gonna go to Analog Lamp, and I saw this R2600. I want to use this. I want to try it. like this. So what I'm doing is following the root notes of the melody, and I'm doing this pattern where we go like... It sounds really nice, honestly, so yeah. This sounds beautiful. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say, oh, that's fire, things like this, because this sounds beautiful, personally. So, before actually going and making the drums, I said I wanted to use an ARP, but really it is full, so I don't really think I'm going to use an ARP. But we were making a Mike Dean type beat, so we have to use a synth bass. I added the effects, and this is what I did. So I kept it really simple. In fact, I added like 2 effects, at best like 3. Starting from the main synth, I added a EQ. I cut off the frequencies under like 90 Hertz because I want to cut off the bass from the main synths for when I'm gonna do the drums, and I'm gonna do the bass line right now. As I said before, I cut off some resonances that I didn't really like. You don't have to go this deep. I did it because I wanted to sound cool. Get out the way. And then I took off retro color, and I didn't exaggerate it. I just put vinyl. I turned down the noise, put a little bit of digital to give it that like analog feel. I really liked it. Put a little bit of reverb and turned up the width. Then for Greasy 2, I added the EQ. I just cut off the lows. I didn't need to cut anything else personally. Then I added J37. This is a tape emulator, and I went in and I selected the synth preset. I turned the noise level down and the saturation up, and it gives it that sort of, I don't really know how to say it, an analogy. That rustic feel. I'm just gonna call it that. And I turned down the stereo image because it was too wide. It was taking too much space. So I wanted to make it narrower so that it sat in place and it didn't annoy and it didn't bother the other synths. Then last but not least, the ARP. Then last but not least, the synth chords I had here. These are the ones that I turned the most down because these are just an accent. I don't want them to stick very much in the melodies. So I added an EQ, I added retro color, and then I put delay here. And I used ping pong. So before actually going in making the drums, I am going to make a bass. What Mike Dean likes to use is Moog. He loves to use Moog. Sign Moog bass. And I don't really want this, so I'm just gonna go on sound match and select other things. You get it? It's so fire. And Mike Dean doesn't really like to have plain bass such as... No, he likes to freestyle on them. So I'm just gonna try and do that. So I did it, and as you see, I kept it quite simple, honestly. I could have gone for a more complex approach. I took some notes, I put them up, and I did this roll with the bass notes. It sounded really cool, honestly. And yeah, this is how it sounds. So now we are done with the melody, and we are going to build drums on top of it. And what we're going to do with the drums is have a very simple approach because we spent so much time making this melody. So we don't want to make very complex drums. We really want to keep them simple.
Cause some came in the mail today. These nuts. Ha! Got him! Ha! Got him!
latency is so bad. Oh my god. I'm not really following any guidelines for the drums. I'm just making basic trap drums and leaving them kind of simple. I'm not making them too complicated. Okay, now the 808. So for the 808, I'm just gonna go in the melody pattern and I'm just gonna follow the root notes. This sounds fruity, guys. Let's use an accent to make the drums pop a little bit more, so I was thinking of an open hat. God, I'm very ear fatigued right now. Like, I'm struggling to level things out even if I'm not mixing. Holy crap. This makes you understand when you're working hard on a beat. Well, I want to add some other stuff, but I don't really know. Like, the beat sounds very full already. So yeah, I think that's enough. I'm dead, my brain is destroyed. So I am going to arrange this thing and I'm gonna let you guys see what I did after I'm done. I'm gonna mix the drums even. So yeah, I'll see you guys when I'm done. So before I show you guys the final results, I wanted to take a minute to say, if you enjoyed the video by far, don't forget to leave a like under this video and also comment, and don't forget to subscribe, come join the family. We are growing it out every day. We become more and more, and I'm so grateful for everything, guys. So yeah, don't forget to follow my Instagram, link is in the description, and yeah, I'll show you the final result in 3, 2, 1.